So now question number 13, we have to be very alert in this question because we have, so bar graph is having the x-axis with the years from 2005 to 2010, that is 6 years, and the y-axis with uncertainty, and larger values means more uncertainty. So here you can also see how to the color codes for that. One is for tax and public spending policy, this color code. One is for trade policy, and the darkest black line is for general economic policy. So let's read the question. High levels of public uncertainty about which economic policies a country will adopt can make planning difficult for businesses. But measures of such uncertainty have not tended to be very detailed. Recently, however, economist Sandile Hlatshwayo analyzed trends in news reports to derive measures not only for general economic policy uncertainty but also for uncertainty related to specific areas of economic policy like tax or trade policy. One revelation of her work is that a general measure may not fully reflect uncertainty about specific areas of policy, as in the case of the United Kingdom, where general economic policy uncertainty black. What is the general economic policy? This one we are focusing on. Uncertainty blank, which choice most effectively uses data from the graph to illustrate the claim. Now A says aligned closely with uncertainty about tax and public spending in 2005 but differed from uncertainty about tax and public spending policy by a large amount in 2009. So let's focus on 2005 and 2009. In 2005 we look at this, that is tax and public spending, it's here, and this is the general economic policy in 2005. Same way 2009 also, let us just mark it here and here. So A says aligned closely with uncertainty about tax and public spending in 2005 but differed from uncertainty about tax and public spending policy by a large amount in 2009. This is incorrect because the graph shows that the level of general economic policy uncertainty was similar to the level about tax and public spending in both 2005. In 2005 also it is close to 100, let's say 90. And in 2009 also this particular tax and public spending is above 50 or 80, 75, something like that. Okay, 75 to 80. And you can see that it's aligned closely about but differed from uncertainty about tax and public spending. So we cannot take this one. This doesn't match with the graph. B says was substantially lower than uncertainty about tax and public spending policy each year from 2005 to 2010. This is also not correct because the graph shows that general economic policy uncertainty was general economic policy. We are looking at this was higher than uncertainty about tax and public spending policy in, if you look at 2006, this is higher than this. This is higher, which one? The general economic policy. And in 2007 also, this general economic policy is greater than this, that is the tax and public spending. And 2009 also you can see that this is greater than this, grey line you can say. Not that it was lower each year from 2005 to 2010. So we cannot say every year it was lower. From 2000, in these 3 years, 2006, 2007 and 2009, in fact the general economic policy is higher. Then C, this is also incorrect because the graph shows that because C says it reached its highest level between 2005 and 2010 in the same year that uncertainty about trade policy and tax public spending policy reached their lowest levels. Remember, we are talking about general economic policy. As you can see, we are talking about that general economic policy uncertainty. So reached its highest level between 2005 and 2010 in the same year that uncertainty about trade policy and tax public spending policy reached their lowest levels. So C is incorrect because the graph shows that the general economic policy uncertainty, when it reached its highest level, it reached in 2010. This is the highest we can see. Everywhere else it is lower than that only. See, here it is lower, here, definitely lower than what it reached in 2010. Reached the highest level in 2010, which was uncertainty about tax and public spending policy. What about tax and public spending? That also reached highest level. See, this is also reached very high level. Highest level, not its lowest level. So both have reached the highest. So here saying that reached the highest level between 2005 and 2010 in the same year that uncertainty about trade reached their lowest levels. This is highest and that is lowest. No, both have reached highest levels only. So what is left is D. Here we are comparing, what we are comparing? General economic policy uncertainty, and I told you already that's the dark black line, was substantially lower than uncertainty about trade policy. Trade policy means the light line, the lightest one here, was substantially low. We are comparing the dark black line to this one. That is which 2 years? 2005 and 2010. Let's look at that. So the light line, that is talking about trade policy in 2005, that is more than 150. Let's say 160 that is. And then the dark black line, if we compare, that is under 100, around 80. Okay. So what was less? This general economic uncertainty was substantially lower than uncertainty about trade policy in 2005. You can see that it is lower. That is correct. The general economic policy is lower, quite low compared to the trade policy. And now we go to 2010. What about 2010? Again, we are comparing this dark black to this lightest black, because we are comparing general economic policy to trade policy. Now 2010, if you read the figures, this is around 120 or 130 we can say, and this one is just about 70 or something, let's say 70, 75. So here we can say that the general economic policy substantially higher, which is higher, the general economic policy. You can see that this dark black line is higher than the uncertainty about trade policy in 2010. You can see the difference here. In 2005, you can see the difference between general economic policy and trade policy, which is which is lower over here. This general economic policy is very low. Okay, whereas in 2010, this general economic policy is substantially higher. It's become 120 as compared to trade policy of just 70. So this is the best answer. So this is a little difficult and you have to focus a lot, and for these type of questions, first you can skip it, finish the other questions and then come back to it later with the time remaining.